Okay, so today on Dada TV, we'll be speaking with one of Syracuse's best assistants in the athletic department. He goes by the name of Jason Leslie, and we'll be discussing his day-to-day role in the office. Uh, what's going on, Jason?
Hey, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Okay, so how does it feel to be on Dada TV?
Hey, it feels great, man. I've heard a lot about you, and I know you got a big personality, and you're really well known here in the athletic department here at Syracuse. So it's a blessing to be on the show today.
Okay, let's get it started, man. First of all, I would like to ask you, where you from, Jason?
I grew up in Michigan. Grew up about 15 minutes north of Detroit, so I'm a huge Detroit sports fan across the board. I love watching the Tigers, love watching the Pistons, and it's been great growing up in Michigan. Just sports has been my life, and that's kind of what led me to be here, and just, that's kind of who I am.
Okay, it's Detroit. Okay. I'm from Miami, so is there anything you can tell me about Detroit tradition or something Detroit people do on a daily basis?
Yeah, for sure. Well, there's one thing I'll say that all you guys out there that think Detroit is a terrible city, that's just not true. Detroit is very up and coming now. There were definitely some bad times that hit in the recession about 10 years ago, but ever since then, it's been up and coming. We got some new buildings coming in, some new infrastructure. Just built a brand new arena for the Red Wings and the Pistons, and it's beautiful. So if you haven't been, you definitely got to get out there and check out the city of Detroit.
Okay, I definitely got to make a plan to make a trip out there. Going back to the office, what is your position title there at Syracuse?
Currently, I'm an academic support assistant here at Syracuse. So I'm working with mainly the football teams, but I was involved with softball a little bit as well.
Oh, okay, that ain't bad. Little sports activities.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, what does your job require on a daily basis?
So primarily I'm involved with working with the student athletes from a tutorial standpoint, where I have a certain caseload of students that I meet with on a day-to-day basis, Monday through Friday, and I'm really helping them out with their coursework and also just helping them out as individuals too. Here at Syracuse, we're not just concerned with how they're performing in the classroom. We want to build the next generation and build great men. So, really just educating them from an overall growth standpoint is pretty much what I'm involved with currently.
Okay, that ain't bad too much. Now, one thing I've always grew up thinking about was what led me to do what I did. And one thing I want to know, probably the audience wants to know also, what is something that led you to do this job?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'd say that when I was back in high school, I had a coach when I was on the varsity basketball team. I was warming the bench, but I was on the varsity basketball team, and he was a great mentor. He was a father figure. He was a psychiatrist. He was an older brother. He was everything for all the guys on the team, and that kind of led me to want to give back in the future, and that's what really sparked it in my mind. And then, as I mentioned before, sports has just been a huge role in my life. I was a student athlete. I played soccer at the University of Detroit Mercy, and I was a 2-year captain. I was involved in the student athlete advisory committee there. So I felt like I had an impact on the younger, when I was a senior and I was a junior, I felt like I had an impact on the freshmen and the sophomores and the kids coming up. So I kind of liked that, and I wanted to give back. So I decided to go to graduate school and get a master's degree in sport management so I could take that next step in my career. And then from there, I was fortunate enough to land at Syracuse University and get the gig that I'm currently enrolled in.
Okay, so you was always around sports. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. Okay, being here at Syracuse, and you said your position was being an assistant around the office, being around athletes. How often are you around athletes here at Syracuse?
So I'm seeing them every day. Like I mentioned, I got my caseload, but it goes beyond that too. Everybody on the football team knows who I am, and we're interacting every day. Not just from that academic standpoint. We're talking about music. We're talking about life and where people are from. So it's awesome. I love working with the athletes. I love seeing them interact with each other and grow, and it's just a blessing to be a part of it all.
Okay, that ain't bad, being around athletes, watching them grow. Okay. Tell me something about the bonds you and these athletes have, or what type of bonds do you have with the athletes that you be around on a daily basis?
Yeah, I think I have a bigger bond with the freshmen. When they come in, they're a little bit new. They don't really know what's going on. So, I think they kind of gravitated towards me in my current role now. And, they come in and they don't know anybody else. So who are they going to go to? The people that they see every day, right? So I'm one of those people that, they're interacting with on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to give a shout out to my guy, Curtis Harper, right now. He came in, he was a little shy. Curtis Harper's playing D-tackle on the team right now, number 54. Check him out this fall. He's going to be making some big plays for the Orange. And, Kurt is a great guy, and he and I have developed a special bond over the past 8 months since I've been here. We interact on a daily basis, so we talk about his hometown. He's from McKeesport, PA, and Kurt has really grown as a person over the last 8 months, and he's grown academically tremendously. And seeing Curtis develop from a kid that came in, fresh out of high school to a kid that, he struggled a little bit from an academic standpoint, but he worked his tail off for me. And, that bond has really grown over the year, and I know Kurt would lay his life on the line for me. I really feel like if it came down to it, he's just that type of guy. So, having that bond, and I think it's going to continue past my current role. I think Kurt and I will be in touch for the rest of our lives.
This is something that's something that I kind of agree with, that you're building a bond with the athletes and getting to know them rather than just, seeing the outside looking in. How fun is it knowing that you know the athlete from a personal standpoint rather than being an outsider looking in? Like how fun is it to know that you know who this person is that you watch on TV play?
Yeah, I gotta admit, when I watch you guys on TV, especially that Clemson game this year, watching you guys go down to LSU and play in Death Valley, playing on ESPN, it's special. I love it. I mean, I got guys from home that I grew up with texting me out, Cuse just beat Clemson. Were you in the Dome? I'm like, yeah, I was in the Dome. I love it. I love that guys are reaching out to me about, seeing you guys play. It is really special. And seeing the behind the scenes and seeing the work that you guys put in and day out in Manly and in Ensley. And I know you guys are getting after it in the weight room, and you're getting after it in the schoolwork as well. So it is really special. I'm just so happy to be a part of it. Syracuse is a great family. Syracuse is a great community. There's people in the community that really live and die with the Orange, and it's really special to be a part of a community like this.
Okay, so Jason, I hear that you got a new job or an upgrade. Could you tell me a little bit about that job, being moving from an assistant to an academic coordinator?
Yeah, just recently I was able to gain a promotion here, kind of working up more of an advising role. So I mentioned before, my current role has more so been tutoring and working with the students with their coursework, but now it'll be kind of more long-term, preparing for graduation, maybe going to grad school, resume building, 401k planning, all that stuff, kind of taking a step broader and taking a step back, and approaching things from a broader perspective of advising the student athlete from, array of reasons, so it'll just be a little bit different. I'm not going to be working with football anymore. I'm going to be working with women's lacrosse and men's and women's rowing, so it's going to be a little bit of a change. Definitely going to miss my football guys. Like we were talking about earlier, I've really developed a strong bond with a good number of them, so I'm going to miss that, but definitely excited to take the next step in my career, especially here at Syracuse.
Okay, a very important question that I would like to ask you, and I want to know, will this new job affect the amount of time you'll spend with your athletes, or how would the time with the athletes manage up?
Yeah, so the hours should actually stay pretty consistent. Working in athletics, it's not a 9-to-5 job. I was here till 10 o'clock at night sometimes. It's just the hours are very random in athletics, so that's definitely going to stay consistent. But relationship standpoint, it's just going to be building a new relationship with a different group of student athletes, like I mentioned. So I'm going to have to start from ground zero with my new student athletes, but it's exciting. I'm excited to learn more about the game of lacrosse. I don't know much about rowing. I know you got to have a good upper body strength for that, but aside from that, I don't know too much about it. So I'm excited just to learn more about new sports and just meet new people and try to help them succeed.
Speaking that you say you'll be switching sports from football to rowing, how do you feel about the transition from working with football and knowing that you gotta, if you don't understand a lot about rowing, how do you feel about the transition from going from football, something you really know about, to rowing, something that you really have to learn a little bit more about?
Yeah, I think one thing that's allowed me to build such good relationships with my football guys is being able to talk to them about football, because I play Madden. I've watched football growing up, so I know a little bit about the defensive packages and all that. Nose tackle, D tackle. So it is good to have that bank of knowledge that you can always go back to. But what I'm always going to turn to is finding something in common with that student athlete. So although it is a different sport, I can guarantee you that we're going to have something in common, and just knowing that they're a student athlete and I was a student athlete, we already have something in common. So with student athletes, there's always something special that makes their mind tick. I think we're wired a certain way to do the things that we do. So just finding other things in common that we can talk about, music, food, stuff like that. Just keeping things light. Trying to, there's going to be days that are really long, so can't be all about academics and can't be all about sports. You gotta keep things light too, and just talk about pop culture and all that good stuff.
Okay. Time winding down. Dada TV. I have one more question for you, Jason. If you had to choose a sport and someone that plays the sport, what sport and what person do you feel is your favorite?
Man, that's a good question. Like I mentioned before, I grew up in Detroit, and I loved the Pistons growing up. So my guy was Chauncey Billups. He was captain of the team. He was just a selfless player. That whole team was selfless. They didn't really have a superstar. They said the quote was, when they beat the Lakers in 2004, was that the Lakers had a pair of aces with Shaq and Kobe, but the Pistons had a full house. So a full house is going to beat a pair of aces. Even though you see those two pair of aces and it's exciting, you think you got a good hand, but when you got a full team working together, and Chauncey was the facilitator of that, man, he was a great guy. He's linked into general manager positions now, and he's on TV as an analyst. So, Chauncey Billups was my guy growing up, and I still is my guy today.
Okay, well, that's the end of Dada TV today. There we have it for you, Jason Leslie, the new up and coming athletic director here at Syracuse. It was nice speaking with you guys today. Have a nice day. And thank you, Jason, for stopping by to the show.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on, man. Good luck in the future.
Thank you.